Incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind.
Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
Moopsy.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Not a great plan.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Different roads, same old spark. Talking Trek till the street lights spark. We're those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT cannon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters of books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys.
And those sci-fi guys, we are indeed. This is That's Sci-Fi Guys show. Just two working dudes, different lives, their jobs, with a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We are your hosts. I am P.S. McKay. And to be honest, I'm trying to figure out how to request the time off for the day when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out this November. I don't think they're going to ask questions, but I have to ask it early.
Well, I'm GT Cavman, and I'm not jumping in line for these video games anymore, but there are still few movies that I would consider that, possibly.
Yeah. Like Mando and Grogu?
Well, fortunately, it's a holiday weekend, so all good.
Yeah. I keep forgetting that it's Memorial Day weekend. It came early this year. There's a whole week of May, after Memorial Day this year.
I know. Justin Timberlake came early this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be May. I'm sorry, everybody. I shouldn't have done that. That was irresponsible drive-by singing.
Yes.
Until the next time, everybody. I'm out. Later.
I'm DT Cavman, and that was embarrassing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell me that when it's not a day ending and why. So, how you doing, DT?
I'm okay. Having a little bit of some knee issues, so if I appear a little more twitchy in my seat than usual, folks, it's mostly because I've got to shift periodically to either elevate my leg or put it down.
That's cue for his pain drugs not being in stock for the last 3 days, so he's tweaking out just a little bit. Everybody,
I'm fine.
He has to self-medicate now. No, just kidding. There will be no substance abuse here.
No, only responsible.
Only responsible recreation. That's what it is. All right. Well, you're going to be forgiven for any undue shifting. Appreciate that. So, are you going to be able to tell us what the weather's like tomorrow?
I can already feel it in all my joints. Temperature's dropping substantially here.
Oh, it sucks.
Is
that really a thing?
It was. I just think that your body, when there's drastic shifts in temperature, I just think your body picks up on it anyway.
Yeah. No, I can get behind that. Oh, dude, you're going from 89 today, which is the same degree that we had, to 68 tomorrow, which is not going to be the same degrees we have tomorrow.
I'm actually not disappointed with that. It's still a little early for the high 80s, early 90s, low 90s. So,
Oh, dude. And it's Memorial Day weekend, like we talked about. And we have that fun group that you belong to, and it's going to be raining Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's going to be a high of 65 at best. Dude.
Well, I'm hoping it's kind of nice on Monday, because I am expecting, at least depending on how my knee feels, to go and march in the Memorial Day parade. So I'm hoping. Right now it looks like it's gonna light chance of rain, so let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Or even less. That would be
Yeah.
nice. Sunday, I'm hoping it's not a whole lot either, because that pool club we belong to opens this weekend, and I promised my kid we'd go. So.
That's what I was referring to, I guess. And okay, we can say it's the pool club. That's cool. I just don't want to unnecessarily reveal something. So
we're not.
But all right, well, very good. So got something to look forward to. You got tickets to Mando with the family.
Yeah, the three of us were going. My kid and I are interested in the movie. Mrs. Kaufman is just interested in seeing a giant Grogu on the screen and eating popcorn, which, hey, good is good.
Hey, if you can get her out, you can get her out, right? That's a day out, everybody.
Oh, yeah. The last movie we went to see as a family was the last Indiana Jones movie.
Ooh.
Nobody walked out of that happy.
I'm sorry.
Even more so, Mrs. Kaufman likes Indiana Jones and wanted to see it. And it was
so she initiated it.
No, I initiated it, but we've watched the movies together. We went to see Kingdom of the Crystal Skull at a drive-in in New York early in our marriage when that came out.
Okay.
It was cool. We sat in there.
Yeah.
We saw a couple of movies at that drive-in theater. It was kind of neat.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was the only movie I have ever seen. No, I'm sorry, not the only movie. It's the last movie that I had ever seen in the movie theater with my father-in-law. After that, he called it quits on going to the movies.
Just with you or in general?
Well, I don't think he's been to the movie theaters ever since. And I don't think it was just because of me. But you can bet that I was the one that initiated going to see that movie, and my in-laws are like, you know what, why don't we go too? Let's, this is before kids. We had just moved to the area, back to my wife's home. And they were excited to spend more time with us. And well, geek culture is not exactly completely universal. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
although I walked out of Crystal Skull a little disappointed too.
Yeah, but in general, it was still a better movie. It was still a decent movie. I mean, did it live up to the expectations? Maybe not. But when you look on, it's almost like the Star Wars prequels. Looking back after seeing the Disney train wrecks, you're like, oh, yeah, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad with perspective. Yeah, I did. I rewatched Revenge of the Sith again. I'm like, you know what? There's really not much that you need to do to improve this. You can do this here or this here. Yoda just kind of gives up in the middle of the fight, which I'm sure there's deleted scenes that, fix that issue. But it was cut for time. But yeah, not that bad. at least they don't say somehow Palpatine gained power of the Senate.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Well, I'm just trying to customize it to the movie, but
sure.
Yeah. So, that was a good meme you sent me earlier, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know how I know all this. I'll post it on the website, everybody, for under episode 290. You'll be able to see it. So, and what
we've been getting some pretty good traction on our platforms lately.
We have very good traction.
The reel on the Odyssey definitely popped. Although you got some spiciness, I guess when that was on TikTok.
On TikTok, someone was like, "Well, you should maybe write your own then." I'm like, "Well, I did. Here's the link to my book about using Irish mythology. Enjoy. Thank you for listening."
It may be our most reacted reel on Facebook.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's been interesting.
No,
Expanding the brand,
a lot
folks.
of people are seeing us. A lot of people are talking to us, and all I gotta say is just reach out more, everybody. That's all we want. Talk to us. We talk back nicely. It's nice. Yeah. So
I mean, we'll respond nicely, but it would be nice
we
if
spread good vibes.
Yeah. Which is funny coming from you.
I know. I wanted to open the show about Neil deGrasse Tyson. Can I do that?
Is it dream related?
No, he's just a dick.
By all means.
It is kind of sci-fi related. It is kind of sci-fi. Okay, so I loved Neil deGrasse Tyson. I knew him first through watching the Science Channel, Discovery Channel. They would cut to him and Michio Kaku and several others when it came to different astronomy related, programs and things like that. And he had a lot of cool things to add in about the aspects of astronomy, cosmology, different things like that. And then when he had a guest appearance on Stargate SG-1 back in 2007. I was over the moon. I'm turning to my wife going, that's Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's the guy that's on all the science programs and stuff. And he played himself, right? He
did it on the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, well, and he did it with Bill Nye in that same episode. Like he and Bill Nye were like sniping back and forth at each other a little bit. And Bill Nye is a whole other aspect that I won't get into.
Yeah, but wasn't it better to watch Bob Newhart kick Bill Nye's ass?
It was very nice. I did. You gotta love Bob Newhart. Man, it's hard to believe that he's actually gone. He's left us so many times in pop culture. Anyway, that's his style. Anyway, it's poorly done. I'm sorry, Bob. I love you. Anyway, I came across this, and I liked how he talked. He talked about how he, teaches his children to think scientifically. And by scientifically, you have, when he's asked a question, he takes that question as the thesis, and then he runs down the facts that bring up that question. He brings up the question again as the thesis, and then he brings up a body of answers that are like a thesis, answering that question. And I'm like, wow, that's a very brilliant. That's a sign of a very smart man, someone who knows his stuff, and he answers it, structurally and eloquently. And that's fine. And he still does that. The problem is there's this there's one video clip of someone talking about asking him if he believed in UFOs. And most of the audience laughed at the question. Neil smirked a little bit and everything, and he talked about, and he goes, well, first of all, you have to understand. Anyway, he does that structure, but he basically talks about how UFOs are not a thing that exist. As someone who is an astronomer like he is, every time he steps outside at night, the first thing he does is he looks in the sky. I do that too, as an amateur astronomer myself. That's the first thing I do. Actually, I got a really cool picture of the night sky last night. Did you catch it? Was it clear where you were last night? Well, take a look at the western sky. Oh, well, you can't even step out tonight because you're busy. The Jupiter and Venus are with a crescent moon tonight in the western sky. About 8:00 locally.
Well,
so
I remind you,
brilliant.
I didn't leave my work until after 7 p.m. here. So then let's go home. Let's spend time with family, shower. By the time I was settled in, it was almost 10 o'clock. So
yeah,
I was in and down for the night.
I hear you. No, I hear you. And I'm not telling you to go out right now either.
Quiet.
You can see it tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, that's the first thing every astronomer does. They look up at the sky, and he talks about the UFOs are not a real thing. They're not aliens. They're not a real thing. You know, they're misunderstood objects that are in the sky already. Either a plane that you can't see the blinking lights on, a satellite, or maybe the space station.
Isn't that what the U stands for?
The unidentified.
It doesn't mean that it's not real.
That was the first thing he lambasted them on. He goes, well, first of all, it's unidentified, which means, first of all, UFOs are a thing, but they're not aliens, and they're not aircraft. They don't exist like that. Like as he meant, the questioner used the term UFO as aliens. Done.
Yeah.
My point is, he scoffed at the idea that aliens or UAPs were a real thing. And he's scoffed at that idea ever, since Kingdom Come until recently. And it was only in the last 6-7 months we had this disclosure video called The Age of Disclosure, where it interviewed numerous members of the US government, the current Secretary of State, talking about how the idea of this technology exists and it keeps them up at night, that it might be in the hands of other foreign governments. Basically all of these, major heads of government here basically saying, yeah, these are real, it's out there, and they're probably not human made. And only recently has Neil deGrasse Tyson come out and said, I think we need to be owed, full disclosure on this whole stuff. Only recently. He never talked about it before. Now, I argued with you a couple nights ago, maybe it was last night, about
there was no
how
argument.
It bothers well, you're right. I just ranted. I ranted to you about how I'm all about someone who will acknowledge when they're wrong and then change the subject on everything. But the thing about Neil deGrasse Tyson is he is a paradigm man. He will defend a paradigm till the end of time. And in this circumstance, there is no objective evidence that would tell him to change his paradigm other than public sentiment. We don't have any further evidence other than just some weird videos here and there. And actually, a couple of the videos that came out in the previous data cache release of the UFO files, a couple of those were actually explained by the public. Oh, that's actually a flare on a parachute. You can see the parachute in the distance, and flares give off that kind of signature in infrared. That's just what it does. It looks like a diamond. So, okay, cool. Neil should have said way back when, he's like, I don't know if they're real UAPs or UFOs. A lot of them could be mistaken, but there are some that are not explained. But he didn't do that. And now he's saying, oh, there's probably things that aren't explained only because of public sentiment. He's not been given any new information at all.
Well, that we know of. Maybe he's about to be brought in.
The CIA PSYOP?
The Secretary of Science stuff.
He could be a CIA PSYOP, by the way. He very well could be. He's a member of the entertainment community, in a sense, of a place of educational authority. And that's happened. Basically almost every major newscaster you see employed by the CIA in some form or another. So, I'm not going nuts by that. That's a real thing. That's been documented. So, and I understand your sensitive situation. You can't talk about it. So I'm not asking you to say it. So
let me just put it. Let me put it as from the perspective of just a regular old ground pounding door kicker. Okay, man. The CIA is like the boogeyman put out by Hollywood.
Oh, well, that's what they want you to think.
I'm not saying that there's not truth to it, but I mean, if you are, some movies haven't, or in TV shows haven't painted as the bad guy, the beat cops, stumble on something, and oh no, Turns out it's CIA, and the CIA guys are all crooks. Or occasionally you'll oh, CIA, they're coming in to give us a hand. For the most part, I don't think there's a federal agency that is routinely on TV that goes back and forth as much between the good and the bad and the CIA.
Well, isn't that what they do? I mean, they're meant to do the bad stuff, in a sense, in order to protect America as a whole.
There's supposed to be an intelligence gathering organization.
But that's not what they've done. That's not what they've done. I mean, go back to Agent Orange and other items like that. The CIA has a long track record of, oh shit, hold on, someone's at the door. Hold on, I'll be right back. Bang, bang. Oh, I'm out later.
Told you we should have live streamed, man.
We should have live streamed.
A lot more difficult. Look. Again,
would have been
be
nice
that as it may, with
effect, by the way,
with great, triggering the audience. Whether Tyson has walked back his previous thing, or he actually learned something that he did, that he didn't see before, and it caused him to change his perspective, or there's money in his pocket. It's just not. It's not getting me out of bed in the morning.
And that's why we love you, DT.
I mean,
it's gonna take a lot more than UAP videos to get you to care about life differently.
Hey, look, man.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair. I apologize, but
I would be fascinated to learn if there was intelligent life anywhere. I'm still trying to find it here most of the time. But honestly, if there was if there was proof of, and I believe that there has to be other life outside of what's here on Earth.
Sure.
The sheer, and I'm not a numbers guy, but the math would seem to indicate that there has to be more.
No, but I agree. A complete numbers game. Life is out there in some form or another. And if you live by Newtonian physics, it would be impossible for us to really come across them. Like, we'll all be living in our own little bubbles, our own mini micro universes, so to speak, because the distance is just so vast. In the long form of it all. Yeah, I agree. But when you leave Newtonian physics, like Star Trek has, then it's a whole different ballgame.
Well, yes, there's that. You have to find things that work for you sometimes, and there are times you also have to, there's also a point where what do you know, that's different, right? Like, can we project that there's things that actually prove what we think we know is wrong?
No, all I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with having a paradigm. In fact, that's the only way science works. A paradigm is a model. And what you do is you build a model based off of a hunch that you have, or a hypothesis. You bring the evidence together and you build this model.
Sure.
And okay, everything should work within this model. And then, for ad nauseum, since the days of Ptolemy, it's worked that way until the model doesn't work anymore. And then they realize, okay, that means that the model is inaccurate. So we need to figure out why the model is inaccurate, change the paradigm, and build that new model based on that new paradigm. And that's how Copernicus came about, with a heliocentric universe or and whatnot and everything. That's just how it works. But as a scientist, to think scientifically, which is what Neil deGrasse Tyson always preaches, and he tells his children, think scientifically. He brags about teaching his children to see that he teaches them to think this way. you're not supposed to be closed-minded.
That's
you
true.
take in new information all the time, and you say, well, does this affect the paradigm? And if it doesn't, well, that's an interesting little tidbit. Let's see. Well, we'll put that in another file for another time. But if it does affect the paradigm, well, then you need to be open to the idea that, okay, maybe we need to change the way we're thinking right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. That you're perfectly excused to do that, because as human beings, we are, by definition, imperfect. We're never going to have the perfect model because we were the ones that created it. So it doesn't matter whether we create it 10 years from now or 1,000,000 years from now. The model is always going to be imperfect. It'll be more refined, and we've learned from the mistakes of the past. But if you just shut off the idea that there's a new piece of evidence out there that could affect that paradigm, then you've essentially shut off the idea that science could ever work properly right then and there. But you're doing it in the name of science. You can't do that. Yeah. That's what frustrates me. That's what irritates me about the situation. So, by the way, I don't hear that I called him a dick. I apologize. I don't think he's really a dick. I just find it a little obtuse sometimes when he preaches about the scientific thinking and method when he's clearly not demonstrated it himself. So,
I mean, we're all humans. We're all fallible, right?
Again, exactly. And that's why I don't hate him. He's imperfect just like we all are. So, but he does come from a place of authority. So I just want to point out to everybody, even your heroes are imperfect. Okay. Moving on. What's the subject for today?
I'm dreaming of you getting to the point.
Yes. Okay. So I had a dream the other day, and we're going to be talking about dreams and sci-fi. Not to get too into it, but the dream taught me, had me in a situation where all I was trying to do was just good things. But in the process of doing good things, I was ignoring everyone else's requests to do something else. Or I would do something else and then try to fill out the request later. But then my family would intervene, and then things would happen that were unfortunate to my family in trying to intervene. And it was a very frustrating, meandering journey, so to speak. And I woke up and I was very disturbed by it. And it made me realize, I think that's the closest I'm ever going to feel right now to what it is to have a cognitive impairment. Where that dream taught me what cognitive impairment can be, because I had nothing but good intentions in doing something, but I was forgetting where people were telling me where to go. So I just went on my own meandering experience trying to do good for my family and things like that. Now, not to disclose too much, but cognitive impairment runs in my family. So it's always been something that's been top of my brain, to think about, to worry about, always zero in, constant vigilance, right? But this is the first dream where I really had an experience where it felt something like that. And I brought up the subject that we're talking about tonight a few weeks ago, but I felt that was important now, because dreams can be a manifestation of what your concerns are in real life. And that's, I think that's a pretty obvious concern. Also, how, maybe concerns about how my actions can affect my family and things like that. It doesn't have to be like Cicero or Shakespeare to interpret what a dream can mean subconsciously, right? I think as gentlemen as we are, we always are concerned about our family and doing what's right by them.
Sure.
That being said, I'd like to talk about a few episodes of different television shows that go into dream sequences as a plot device, dream scenes that added to the plot, and also maybe not dreams, but being stuck in an illusion that feels like a dream, and that we've all I don't know if I didn't ask you this, but I've had dreams where I've felt like I was stuck in a dream that I knew it was a dream that I couldn't get out of. I don't know if you've ever had that feeling. But
like feeling like you're in a dream that you can't shake loose from? Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, something's off. It's not right. I need to get out of here. And then you think you get out of it, but you're just in another scene of the dream. Like,
yeah, a little. And like you feel like, oh no, something bad's happening. And all I need to do is move my arm and grab a baseball bat or
it's
something.
Not doing
and
that.
You can't. I have generally been able to wake myself when it starts going too haywire.
Yeah. Probably because as we get older, it's harder for us to get into such a deep sleep now, right?
Possibly. It could also be a defense mechanism based on years of experience and, insanity of living on the edge.
Yeah, but enough about you and your business. No, just all right, that didn't work out well at all. I'm sorry. I was trying to say about enough about you and your school life. I know. All right. Enough about you and your school life. Okay, anyway. All right, so this is the coup de grace right here. This is the big one I wanted to talk about. Star Trek The Next Generation.
It's pronounced coup de grace, Tyson.
Nice. No, we meet again. Anyway, so basically this is a situation in season 6 of TNG. Data was able to uncover a subroutine that allowed him to be able, actually with Dr. Bashir, by the way, with a DS9 crossover, where he could dream and use his subconscious to be able to, experience dreams and stuff like a human being. So they basically ignore the whole thing for 12 episodes, something like that. When was Birthright a thing?
I think it was the back half of season 6.
All right, let's just say 12 episodes then. And then they bring it up in season 7, episode 6, called Phantasms. And it opens up very surreally, right? Like Data's walking around, it's a little echoey, and people are referring to him, and the cameras he's in first person mode a little bit. If I recall correctly, I'm sorry, I didn't rewatch this episode. I can't rewatch this episode. It bothers the shit out of me. So not because it's a bad episode, it's just it gives me unease, which is the sign of a well-made episode. But after something that was very distressing happens, he pops up in bed, and then cut to credits, opening credits. And here's the thing. I didn't know about the Birthright episode, because I never saw that episode in first run. So I'm seeing this going, oh crap, I didn't know he could dream. He's dreaming? What's this all about? So that's a little anecdote there. Anyway, Data comes down with a situation where when he starts dreaming, he starts acting out the dreams in real life while he's dreaming. It's called a waking dream, they call it. Feel free to answer this or not. I sleepwalk, especially when I'm stressed and in a place that I'm unaware of. Have you ever experienced that phenomenon?
When I was younger, I did sleepwalk a bit. Not as much as I've gotten older. Again, it might be a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Although there was a couple of times where I've had to get up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom and still be half asleep, and then kind of forget where I am and turn the wrong way. My first night back at home after my hospital ordeal. First night I was back home in the States after about 5 weeks staying in this glorified dorm room that was under, and having to go. It was like a dorm where, I went. It was like a medical hold dorm where I wasn't in the hospital anymore, but I was under hospital care. So I'd be able to come and go, had a room, that sort of thing. And for 5 weeks, I was there, and I'd use the bathroom and I'd turn right. Yep. First night in my house, turned right into the tub, wiped out. Sprained.
Yeah.
I think I sprained 2 fingers. Woke my wife. She comes coming in. And by the way, I'm still weak too. So
yeah, you're still recovering.
Yeah, it was not a great experience. But I thought it was kind of like, it wasn't like a waking dream, but it was definitely like, I thought I was still there.
Uh-huh.
And I walked into the tub.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I've had similar things. Yeah. I've actually been a little bit more functional in my sleepwalk state, where I've turned on showers. My wife comes and sees me and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I can talk to her. I'm like, "Well, I'm getting ready for work. What does it look like I'm doing?" And
so you're being a snarky asshole in your sleep?
Well, a little bit, because I'm annoyed, because I'm like, "Well, what are you doing?" I'm just, because she would come to me like accusatory, like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, it's 6:30. I'm trying to take a shower to get ready for work." And she's like, "First of all, it's Saturday morning and it's 12:30 in the morning." I'm like, "Oh." And then that's when I wake up. Like, I actually wake up and I stop and I'm like, "Oh, what am I doing right now?" She's like, "Well, you tell me." But I have the memory of talking to her in my sleep state. It's a very weird thing.
Yes.
I gotta say,
anyway,
stress is a hell of a thing. Anyway, do you recall the plot? Basically, Data is trying to warn himself, or subconscious is trying to warn himself that the crew has been infected by these parasites that are drinking cellular peptides from all of them, and he's getting these calls, like you forget it. I don't even remember what they say, but he's getting calls from like here we go. This guy, what's his name?
Freud.
He's getting calls from Freud, like, you need to understand what they're doing and things like that. I could probably take a look at the quotes and stuff.
It's coming from inside you.
Yeah. And then he sees these 3 people, and these are the ship's defense systems, or his own defense systems. And this is the most interesting. It's the behind the scenes one. Yeah, this is the most ridiculous scene, where Troy is a cake. And
that's actually, I wonder how that would play now with current slang.
Troy's a piece of cake. Do you want to elaborate further, sir? Like,
I do not.
By the way, her cake actually resembles the season 1, episode 1 uniform that she wore. Did that ever cross your mind? Because it reminds me of that.
No, it did not remind me of that.
Yeah,
but
it did me way back when.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. So anyway, Worf is trying to, cut into her left shoulder, and at some point, Data walks down the hallway in real life, follows Troy into the turbolift, and he's like, "Counselor, don't move." And he starts stabbing her in the left shoulder, only in the left shoulder, nowhere else. And they realize that these parasites in some ultraviolet, they exist in an ultraviolet spectrum or something like that they can only see them in. And they're draining the crew of their cellular peptides. And she was a cellular peptide cake. It was an interesting with mint frosting. Yes, thank you. I forgot about that. It was an interesting plot device to, was using dreaming to give the protagonist, in this case Data, the ability to put the tools together to figure out what was going on with the crew. Because I guess there were other things that were happening around the ship. Things weren't. Was the crew becoming ill in some form or another? I don't recall that.
Let's see. Not really sure.
Yeah. Let's just say it wasn't, but they weren't, but it could have been. It was an interesting plot device to use to be able to get to the solution that they needed in that circumstance. So that was the big one. And then the other one, and this one I also couldn't watch, but I've seen it a few times in syndication. Frame of Mind, season 6, episode 21, a Riker episode. Do you remember this one very well?
Which episode?
Frame of Mind.
Ugh, that was.
It was a tough watch.
It was. It was a very tough watch.
So Riker begins to question reality when he finds himself in an alien insane asylum and faces the prospect his life on the Enterprise has been a complete delusion the entire time. This is one of those ones.
Yeah.
It also follows Future Imperfect also, in a sense. But was it Future Imperfect? We'll talk about that later. But this one, he was in a play on the Enterprise as an insane asylum victim. And suddenly he's back in this asylum, but in real life. And the warden or whatever is an alien that wasn't the same kind of person that was playing the warden on the Enterprise. And he's trying to figure out through reason and whatnot what's happening. And he's told, like, you've never been a member of the Enterprise whatsoever. And at one point, please jump in if I'm wrong about this. I'm seeing this for the first. So he's trying to talk to different members in the asylum. They don't really want to talk to him. I think he befriends someone. I mean, you can see just the dishevelment and everything. This was a great Frakes episode. Frakes was really good in this.
Yeah.
Like, he really showed Riker questioning what was happening around him. And he had such conviction at the very beginning, but at the end, he has no idea what's going on. And is this real? Is this Worf and Data actually trying to rescue him? Or is it in his mind? And he runs to the warden to say, I'm being attacked again by my mind. And then they both leave.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see.
Tough recall, right? I know.
Yeah, well, this is one I haven't rewatched much because it is kind of disturbing.
It's very disturbing. It's a brain drain.
You know, he kind of he split back and forth between scenes on the Enterprise and then scenes in this prison, and he's, alien doctor finds him in the asylum where medics use holographic projections of the Enterprise to convince him that the asylum is his true reality. It succeeds in convincing Riker to ignore what he believes is a hallucination of Dr. Crusher, tries to alert him of an impending rescue attempt, which succeeds in returning him to the Enterprise, which he is convinced is a hallucination.
Yeah. Right. And then this is one of the few episodes in Star Trek where a member of the crew experienced a reality bending experience where technically you shouldn't really know what's real and what's not. Like, just like Inception, you know, the movie with Christopher Nolan and everything.
Never saw it.
Perfectly. Oh, you never saw it. Okay. Well, don't watch it if you don't want something ambiguous, but I could give it away for you a little bit if you want to watch it. But
I was not that interested in it.
We don't have to do that then. That's cool.
No, I mean, I wasn't interested. That's why I didn't watch it. So you can tell me.
Yeah.
It's not on my list of things to watch.
So basically, the idea was that they would do this process called inception, where they would place people in dream states and then plant a seed in their subconscious, and then use machines to jump into their minds while they're in this dream state to try to, like, usually they did it for corporate espionage to get, industrial secrets out of them or something. But sometimes you could put someone who's in a dream state into another dream state, and then they go further into a dream. So each layer you go down, for every second that passes in that deepest layer, like a year passes in the next layer up, and then and 2 years passes in the year up, the layer up above for that. Like, it's really weird. It makes sense. Basically, if you're in you're in reality. That's a spoiler alert, everybody. So if you can see Michael Caine, you're in reality. That's the giveaway. They don't explain that in the movie, by the way.
Well, one of the things that was in. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. Well, I'm just saying. Like, Riker was traumatized by this episode. In this episode, he was truly traumatized. He really did do this play, and his subconscious brought him to this play to try to keep him together a little bit while he was held prison.
Yeah.
And
one of the
last
interesting things
we saw him. Go ahead.
No, keep going.
The last thing we saw him do he was on the play stage, and he was tearing down the sets. And Beverly's like, "You don't need to do this right now. You can just go to bed." And he's like, "I know, but I'm not going to be able to get rest as long as I know this set is still here." And that was symbolically him tearing down that imagery and whatnot so that he could move on with his life.
And
little neat bow and everything, but yeah. Go ahead.
So, one of the interesting plot devices that they use is he periodically, like, gets pain in his head, and, like, when he's back aboard the Enterprise, he repeatedly goes to see Beverly to get it worked on. And it turns out that that's also part of his trigger, his body telling him that something's wrong here. And when he finally gets up, when he finally figures it out and is able to work his way out of it, he wakes up, and that's this part that continues to bleed throughout his hallucinations, is like where they're boring into his head or something like that too.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. He manages to get loose and get his comm badge, and then, gets beamed out of there. And of course, it was a covert mission that goes wrong. This is at least one of several times that Riker has gotten hemmed up by trying to go undercover in a less developed society.
Yeah. Now, the other episode being First Contact. Good episode, though, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Not to mention all the other ones that go haywire, like Time's Arrow. They're not really doing it, but they're trying to, find data.
Yeah.
But they're in their own past, so they're trying to avoid that. So time travel plus trying to avoid, contaminating the timeline and everything. Anyway, Star Trek has done quite a lot of these. One of their biggest, there's a couple of dream-like episodes. Still, some of Trek's greatest episodes are included in these dreams or vision type, where you have, obviously, that's a whole running theme, the visions from the prophets, and then later maybe the Pa Wraiths, the visions that they send to Sisko, visions through the orbs.
Yeah,
so
that's
there's
all
a lot
dream
of that.
sequence like.
Yeah. Far Beyond the Stars is is
Yeah, let's bring that one up. I'm gonna bring that one up. Is that season 6 or season 7? Season
5, I
7,
believe.
right? Ah, geez, 5. Good Lord.
I'm sorry. I guess it is season 6. My apologies. Distraught by the death of a friend during the Dominion War, Benjamin Sisko experiences a vision of 1953 New York where he's Benny Russell, an African-American science fiction writer.
Yeah, there we are. I'll share this tab instead. Here we go. Oh, there we go. F you, JVL. So, and the costumes in this are just fantastic too, by the way. This is fun. This is fun to see everyone dressed, number one, as humans, and number two, in a very stylistic period costume.
And if you didn't know what some of these people looked like without their makeup.
Right. This is your first time. It's a little bit of a shock. Worf, everybody, right here.
They brought like most of the recurring cast in as well. You know, you have Brock Peters, who plays Sisko's dad. You have Jeffrey Combs, Mark Alamo, J.G. Hertzler, Aaron Eisenberg, Penny Johnson, Gerald. They're all there, which is great because you get to see Nog and Quark out of their costumes. Wayoon, Dukat, and what's his nuts there? Martok, one of my favorites, right?
J.G. Hertzler right here.
Right? A lot less intimidating than as the Klingon.
I know, right? That's funny. That's cool. Oh, here's Wayoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then okay, yes, the one of those weird shots where she's in the office, but as Kira. So,
and one of the weird things too is when he has a kind of a blip like that when talking to Worf. Worf is in full Klingon gear, not in his Starfleet uniform, which I thought was an interesting.
Yeah, he's a baseball player, and all he wants to do is just know if anyone's coming to the game to see him. It's like
he's also flirting. He's also flirting with Benny's girlfriend. So,
yeah, who is his girlfriend? Is it her?
Penny.
Is it Jadzia?
Penny Johnson. It's Cassidy.
Oh, Penny.
He's flirting.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I forgot 1930s New York.
1950s New York. Yeah, I think he's playing for the New York Giants.
Yeah, that'd be a bad idea to do. And Cole Meany in his own like dream state here, just quietly suffering. So there's plenty of those episodes that we don't need to go into. But yeah, look, going through the gallery here, this is a fun. Yeah. Oh, there we are. This is what you're talking. Yeah. He doesn't even have the Klingon sash either. It's just the Klingon garb.
He doesn't have his sash, not the Klingon sash.
I know. I spoke too soon, but yeah, correct. It's interesting. How would you feel if you had to sit through 2.5 hours of makeup and costuming and maybe another hour of costuming just to do this like split second shot? I mean, he probably didn't care because he got paid for the day, sitting in the chair most of the day. So, but man,
well, to be honest with you, he doesn't have that big a role in this episode. So he's like,
that's true.
Whatever gets me on screen, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I do remember Renee Auberjonois saying, like, yeah, in the first season or two, like we were like counting the number of pages we had because we're like, damn, all right, yeah, okay. So I'm in this episode for a good amount of time. This is great. And then by season 3, we're counting the number of pages we're in. Like, God damn, I have to come in 5 days this week. Like, how the attitude changes, when you have a steady gig as an actor on contract, by the way. So, but this is a weird mind freak. So what was it that traumatized Sisko to have this experience? I mean, we know he lost a friend in the Dominion War, But did he just go to sleep one night and this is his experience, or was he in front of an orb? Or again, this is a tough episode for me to watch because it's just tough. Like reality bending stuff is hard,
and the subject matter is also harsh too.
It is. It's tough because
you get to
it's 1950s New York.
They don't shy away from the worst of it.
Exactly. And about what Benny looks like versus what he's putting out, like as a writer. So he can't sell his writing because he's black. So
yeah.
Real thing, by the way.
Right. So they cover it up by, like he and Kira's character are all supposed to be absent on photo day.
That's right.
And what gets his thing canceled is that he continues to have a black protagonist. And the ironic part is one of their ways that they have, that they're trying to do it, like circumvent it, is to make it a dream sequence. Like, well, then you can end it with like, this is young. I think they use the term Negro, but a young boy, dreaming of a possible future, kind of thing. So
I mean, and by the way, all of his compatriots there had the best of intentions. They wanted to give him his break, but there was the reality of the situation around him. As an audience member, you're supposed to judge as you're going to judge, right?
Sure.
It was a tough episode on several layers because of that. And also you saw a real vulnerability on behalf of Avery Brooks in this too.
Oh yeah. Everybody, like in the What You Left Behind documentary, they were like, oh, he fully committed so much that it took him a while to come out of that emotional state after the scene.
Yeah.
Okay. So a little further intro on how he got into this whole mess. His father leaves Earth for the first time to visit. So he's here on Deep Space Nine, but things are, while the Federation has retaken Deep Space Nine, the war's still a mess, right?
Right.
So a ship has been destroyed. It was commanded by Sisko's friend. He led the search on the Defiant, but they didn't find any survivors. So that meant his friend is likely dead. Sisko introduced this guy to his wife. And then he's starting to question, if he's making any difference in the war. He's considering stepping down and letting somebody else make these decisions. His dad is trying to support him, and just tells him to think carefully before you make rash decisions, but throughout, like this scene that Sisko's working through it, he starts seeing people pop up in like 1950s style clothing, when like Dax doesn't see anything, Cassie doesn't see anything. And then he follows a guy through a door, and then he finds himself in the middle of a street and hit by a taxi.
That's right. Yeah.
Bashir examines him and wonders what's going on, and finds unusual patterns in his brain that reminds them of the year before when Sisko was having those visions.
When he came across the ancient Bajoran relic, right?
Yeah.
And he told Bajor, because of that relic and the influence of the prophets, he told Bajor to not join the Federation.
Correct.
So he had that same kind of activity in his brain.
Yep.
Which means the prophets were trying to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Outside the wormhole.
Exactly. So, he's released. He grabs a table from a grabs a pad from the table and finds himself holding a pulp newspaper at a New York City newsstand, and then you're fully into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so
And
he's
here we
clearly
are.
dealing with a lot of, there's a lot of stress going on, real stress, loss of friends, just defeat and stalemate, and victories followed by immediate setbacks. All these things that could lead someone to, snap, hallucinate. But the problem then becomes this eventually feeds into later in the series where, when Sisko eventually comes out of this, at the end of the episode, after going through all of these things, after the mental breakdown that Benny Russell has during the, when everything just starts going, sideways for him. He gets fired after they trash his story, and he breaks down, and then Sisko kind of wakes back up. He's thinking about it. Now, you flash forward to the end of this season. Dax is killed. They retake, they have a big victory against the Dominion and the Cardassians by grabbing a foothold in Cardassia, but the wormhole goes poof, and Dax is killed, and Sisko takes a leave of absence. And then, and Sisko's working through this, at the start of the next season, as he's on his quest to find the orb of the emissary, he's then being sidetracked by these visions, which I believe are us leading to, are led to believe that these visions of the 50s, where Benny Russell is now in a institution and is writing on his story on the wall, and his doctor's trying to convince him to. But that these are actual visions from the Pa race, which are meant to dissuade him from his task as the emissary.
That's right. That's right. I saw that episode much more recently than Far Beyond the Stars. Sure. I don't think I've seen Far Beyond the Stars since it first aired. Just because Deep Space Nine has not been on syndication the way that TNG was, or if it has been, it was during when I wasn't watching television as often as I was when TNG was. So that's all I got to say about that. Also, TNN, took over, Star Trek rights and stuff back in 2001 or something like that. And
sure,
whatever. Are you typing or moving something?
Yes, I'm moving to pick more information up.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'm just moving to see things, man.
Yeah, I that's fine. There's Nog. I was waiting for that.
Mm-hmm.
How does he come out of this?
When he has this breakdown, and then he kind of wakes up.
Does he wake up in bed, or does he wake up in sick bay?
I think it just appears at the end. He just wakes up, I think, on the station. Oh, he does. He's staring out the window of his quarters, and he sees, or his office, and he sees a reflection of himself as Benny Russell.
Yeah. Is that how he wakes up? Like this?
Yeah, but this is the inverse.
Oh, okay. Well, they don't have that here, unfortunately. Gotcha. Okay. Good episode, by the way. Real mind freak. Again, not a fan of mind freaks, because when you're stuck in a dream and you can't get out of it, even though you know that there is something outside of the reality you're experiencing. That's literally the term gaslight, where it comes from. and that's a scary prospect.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you while I put this on here.
You know what's kind of interesting? I guess there was supposed to be a quote in this where so the writers of Far Beyond the Stars included several references to past Trek episodes as well as other sci-fi series. For instance, a memo is visible in the office complaining that no one would believe that a cheerleader could kill vampires, referencing Armin Shimmerman's role as the douchey principal in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, no way, really? Because that's literally what I was going to bring up next. Segue into Buffy.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So Armin Shimmerman was the principal in Buffy for how long?
Season 2 and 3, I think.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So there's that. Well, let's talk about Buffy's nightmares. I don't know anything about this episode. I haven't gotten very far in Buffy. I'm sorry. There's things in my life that are happening. But I do like the show. I'm a fan of it. Do you remember Nightmares?
Which one was that one?
A series of strange occurrences lead Buffy and her friends to discover that their worst nightmares have literally become reality. What is that banging? I mean, it's
I'm not hearing any banging, dude.
I'm hearing a ton of it.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm not hearing anything.
And it's happening again. All right, here we go. Let's see. Do we see? Does any of this look familiar? I mean, I know you probably haven't seen Buffy as many times as you've seen Star Trek, but no. Where there were season 1, episode 10.
It's been a while since I've seen that episode. That wasn't the one I thought you were going to do, but okay.
Oh, there's a good shot. This is a good shot right here. First of all, that looks almost HD. How'd that happen? So
Buffy might have gotten an HD upgrade. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's on Disney Plus yet, but all right. Were you thinking of Restless?
Yes.
Season 4, episode 22. All right, well, let's do that one. Forget that. All right, season 4, episode 22. I'll just jump to that.
This is basically they actually solved the season's big bad in the episode before Primeval.
Buffy,
Season
Willow,
4 is
Xander, and Giles experience dreams in which they are pursued by a mysterious figure. Okay, so that's the setting.
Season 4 is Buffy and Willow in college, and Buffy starts dating this guy, or who's like her TA. It turns out he's part of this secret government agency who like experiments on like demons and vampires and stuff to do research. Like one of her professors is also like the head of the agency, and they like put together like this freaking Frankenstein, a human cyborg demon hybrid, and he goes kind of off the deep end and like kills the professor, and like this government agency, they're like experimenting on demons and whatnot, and that's actually where Spike actually gets like an inhibitor chip in his brain where he can't harm regular humans.
Okay.
He can still hurt demons and other vampires, and that's part of how he starts working towards becoming at first a begrudging ally to Buffy and her crew. But like her boyfriend kind of, he has a change of heart and helps her get involved. And it's a thing. And, but in order to beat this Frankenstein, who's like so OP'd, like they use magic to like her closest friends like help lend like parts of their essence to Buffy to create, like to level her up so she can, defeat this bad guy. She gets increased, like she gets Giles' mind because he's the watcher, he's the researcher, he's the mentor. Xander, who's always been all heart because he's got very few other skills. But he's the grounded.
Can skateboard, but he never did it after the first episode.
Well, he's the grounded everyman, right?
Yeah,
he's just kind of along for the ride. But he also, in a lot of ways, ends up as the conscience, the heart, and so that's what he gets. It's almost like the Wizard of Oz, and then Willow gives like her spirit or something like that because by this time she's kind of getting into the witchcraft, and she takes all these these essences and uses it to defeat the bad guy. So like that's the end. And normally that you end, you lose, you beat the bad guy, and then that's usually the end of the season. But Joss Whedon was deciding to play around a little, and he tacked on another episode. Is what happens in the immediate aftermath. And everybody is so wiped out they just want to hang out because it was like this huge battle, as it always is. But they all like kind of hang out and pass out. And then they all start having these weird dreams, and they're being chased by this primitive, kind of terrifying looking woman. Willow is starting to she's come out of her, she's kind of come out actually, and she's become involved with another woman.
So, this is after Buffy went to the alternative universe and saw Willow already out.
Yeah, there was that alternate piece.
Mm-hmm. I only know that from cracked.com, which it used to have really good articles. But
yeah. But Willow's, dreams about, kind of like falling in love with this other woman, Tara, who's like was a kind of a very introverted, and later you find out just really totally abused young woman by her family, just really shitty people. That's a whole other story. And then you start seeing, hints of the vampires, and it's just all a same like overwhelming thing, and everything that's going on in these people's lives. And to dive deep into that, it would take an entire, we'd have to do a deep dive on this episode. So like, Xander's mind starts kind of running away with him about, women, the women in his life, and then all these other things, and they keep getting, sucked into different scenes and whatnot, but they all find themselves being pursued again and again by this individual, and Buffy, who finally, kind of ends up with her. It's kind of wild because like there's something very primitive but also very familiar is kind of what they're starting to figure out. Like you have, some of the other friends are trying to figure out how to help them, but Buffy eventually ends up like in the desert and is face to face with this primitive warrior who then is actually revealed to be the very first Slayer, the spirit of the first Slayer.
Ah.
And,
So this is them
because
all passed out then, right? Like this is
yes, but
them just relaxing and
exactly.
passing out.
But they're all having
Okay.
these nightmares, and one of the reasons is that because they had given their essence to Buffy and they've all become interlinked and joined, it's like kind of upset the original balance of things. That's what
Sure.
this first Slayer is like trying to tell Buffy, that she can't have people around her, she has to be alone. But Buffy, who's always been flipping the narrative on the what is expected of a Slayer, and by building this team and depending on them, she rejects that. She and the first Slayer fight, and it changes venues from the desert to her living room, and she starts seeing that her friends are suffering, and it kind of snaps to Buffy that she's like, if she ignores the first Slayer, if she just focuses on what is true for her and her people, it's like forcing yourself to wake up from the stream.
Is she the first Slayer?
She is not. This spirit is from the first Slayer, the original Slayer who was supposed to fight the vampires. Her. There you go.
Okay. So she's the
Vampires
spirit of the first Slayer.
Yep.
Okay.
But basically what it comes into is Buffy again turns back on the convention, turns back on the first Slayer, walks away. Slayer vanishes, everybody wakes up. They all kind of talk to each other, and Giles' exposition, as he always is, that the shared power kind of brought this up. But they also do some foreshadowing. You don't know what's coming, kind of stuff. But overall, it was interesting. Joss Whedon, skeezy as he was also very dynamic in how he designed shows and pioneered things. An entire episode with like no music, an entire episode that was an entire musical, an episode that nobody's like people there was like literally 40 minutes in the episode where nobody spoke because all speech had been taken. So, different things. Plus, the whole idea of Buffy the Vampire Slayer flips the damsel in distress on its head anyway. But, you get dream sequences and whatnot. And Buffy did a couple. They're always handy for that. And, of course, visions for, like, there's flashbacks, but there's also visions. She's had visions. That was a big focus in Angel, the spinoff, was that one of the characters on Angel's team was having visions, and these visions helped guide Angel's fight against evil, and it passed to a couple of different people. But that's also when you deal with mysticism and folklore and stuff like that, it's bound to come up. So I mean, there's other episodes, but we're running long, and we have other series we got to get into.
Yeah. So, yes. There is. So here's the hard part.
Wicked Hat.
Tell me your thoughts on Babylon 5, Season 2, Episode 11, All Alone in the Night. Where Sheridan is captured by aliens and experiences a deeply surreal, symbolic dream sequence while unconscious. Features cryptic messages from crew members of Ivanova with a raven asking, "Do you know who I am?" Garibaldi
yeah.
with the dove saying the man in between is searching for you, things like that. You want to explain that one?
So, yeah, this JMS was also
I'll pull it up in a second.
What was the name of the episode? All Alone in the Light?
All Alone in the Light. Yeah, season 2, episode 11.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, there's I'm gonna have to dive a little deeper into this. Give me a second. All Alone in the Light is an interesting episode. You're right. It's the one
in that, like you're trying to fill in some time when you put in some needless words. Yes, we saw All Alone in the Night, and it is very interesting in that it tells a story about a man's journey.
Shut up.
Sorry.
No. What it is this is also where JMS is experimenting a little, and it enables him to also kind of hint at some of the backdoor plots and the long running lore and these things that he's been dropping throughout the series, and things that will, not come to fruition just yet either. So that's an interesting one. Sheridan is captured during while chasing down what episode was it? 11?
11.
Oh yeah, I remember this one better now. I just needed a little reminder. So Sheridan there's a bunch of raiders going on, and like Sheridan is out with an escort as they're trying to dig into it, and it goes sideways. They all get killed. Sheridan gets captured by, I think they're called the Scribe, who have plagued the, a lot of the, we will say,
the Greys.
Kind of, yeah.
They're
almost a little bit, yes.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so you get character development of both Sheridan and Delenn in the B plot, because she's going up against the Grey Council. But what it is that Sheridan is in partially hallucinated space, like they're being forced to fight other captured crewmen, and like losers are being like executed horribly. And what they are trying to do is discover the weaknesses of these races. And Sheridan ends up, I think, having to kill a Drazi in self-defense. And then and then this Narn gets dropped in, who Sheridan beats but doesn't kill. And he's trying to get the Narn on his side, but they've been drugged. So they get these visions and hallucinations. Garibaldi here, the dove is kind of interesting because Garibaldi is rather combative. But Ivanova's is the hints about her telepathic history. That her mother was a telepath. She has some latent telepathic abilities. And the Psi Corps, if there's that one, telepaths aren't allowed to serve in the military at Earth. And the Psi Corps, is, they're like the jackbooted nightmare thugs of this universe for the humans. And it's basically like telepaths are required to join the Psi Corps or take medication that dulls their powers.
Changed her mother,
right? And it made her mother.
Yeah,
it made her depressed, and I believe she killed herself. And so Ivanova harbors a very deep hatred of the Psi Corps. right from the get-go. So that's things like other people were kind of willing to work with them at first, but she like hates them. And it put her in conflict with, the various telepaths on the stations at one point. So, but Sheridan, when he's finally freed, these also foreshadow things. Like you learn more about Ivanova's history with telepaths in the Psi Corps later on, and then, a lot of these things foreshadow things that are soon to come. But what I do like, quick side note about this episode is this Narn, eventually he and Sheridan kind of develop this bond. They help each other escape and then believe they're rescued by the Minbari, by Delenn. And this Narn, whose name is Talon, he starts to become a recurring character, particularly in like seasons 3 and 4 and 5. And he becomes a disciple of Jakar's. And eventually, at the very end of the series, he's the new Narn ambassador to Babylon 5. In the second to last episode, where they show the new crew as Sheridan and Delenn depart Minbar. He's the new Narn ambassador, which is kind of neat. So
yeah,
from a bit character onwards, I always enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, that's JMS for you right there.
Yep.
Or Jay's.
There's a great 5th season episode. I believe, I'm trying to remember if this one was the one where that was written by Neil Gaiman. But that being said, we're kind of reaching an end point. I think we should take another whack at a part 2 here, because we're missing maybe one of the best episodes of Star Trek. Another great episode of Star Trek that we did not cover.
We'll talk about it off the air. I'm even flummoxed about it, but I'll probably kick myself in the rear end when you tell me. So we'll leave that tease. But yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be reviewing Mandalorian Grogu next week, everybody. So we'll let you know how that goes. That'll be interesting. And then Memorial Day weekend to a very solemn and dignified weekend to those who serve, and we remember you to those that we've lost in the name of this country and our freedom. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely it is a day of remembrance. Just a quick note for those who are not aware, Memorial Day is really more to honor those who have passed. But if you see a vet and you want to thank them for their service, most of us we understand the sentiment. The term Happy Memorial Day is maybe not the best one to use.
I know, right? It's a misnomer.
But it is, most of us will try to understand the sentiment. So I appreciate that. I wish you all a great, for those of you here who celebrate, have a nice long weekend and your official start to the summer. And why don't you take us out, my friend?
All right, everybody. Well, until the next time, we are those sci-fi guys. You guys keep dreaming. We'll keep working. Until then, so long, everybody.
And I'm DT Caveman. I will see you all on the high ground.
Mack's got a pen that can warp the stars. DT's got stories from cavalry scars. One writes the worlds where the heroes fly, the other roll tanks under desert sky, and sandbox sports to the final frontier. Two kids with dreams and a 6-pack of beer. different roads, same old spark. Talking Trek till the streetlights spark. We read those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT Cammon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters of books, we geek to the core, laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Mack spins a tale about a rogue AI. DT counters with man, I drove that guy. From doom to doom, we argue the stakes while the coffee gets cold and the pizza box breaks. Childhood pals in a grown-up fight for the best damn death scene on a Friday night. Pixels or pages, we're never done. Two working stiffs chasing alien sun. We're in those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT Cammon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters and books, we geek to the core, laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah. No capes, no powers, just regular days, but we'll save the galaxy in our own ways. Max drafting novels in the dead of night. DT's got tank tracks, turns them into light. Together we're louder than a hyperdrive screen. Two regular dudes living the sci-fi dream. Yeah, yeah, we're with those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT Cammon lighting up the airwaves. From the sandbox to the stars, we'll never say die. Tune in, geek out, those sci-fi guys. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Next week, Blade Runners or Replicants? Bring the Bourbon Rider boys, gonna get real.